Since the dawn of time, humanity has sought answers. Through whispers of the stars, the dance of the cards, and the shadows of intuition. Few possess the gift to peer beyond the veil, to see the unseen, and to illuminate the truths buried in mystery. Across the ages, the art of divination has guided the lost, unraveled secrets and brought clarity to the chaos of existence. But in life, there is always a choice, a crossroads between fact and fiction, truth and illusion. It is up to each of us to decide which path we will walk. And now, we have reached this moment, a place where mystery
and truth converge, where intuition meets investigation. Welcome to Seeing Crime. I am Lady Zelda. Let us begin. Hello, my darlings. Welcome, welcome. I get to see you 2 times in one day, and then I'm going to see you tomorrow night, and then I'm going to see you Sunday, and then I'm going to see you Monday. Could there be a possibility that you get tired of being here? I hope the answer is no. Welcome everyone to Seeing Crime. I am Lady Zelda. It is Friday night. Yes, time for us to get. That is, listen, Friday night, it is the Lion's Portal. If you missed that little live stream with True Oracle today, I invite you to go back and get that and take that into consideration because, listen, this is something else. And it's been really good. So welcome. It is Friday, August 8th of 2025. And the energy just feels like it's bubbly today, but I wanted to invite you to my little humble abode and look at this little stinker. Always following me, always around. And I know how much you all like the fireplace. So here, let me light a fire for you, if you don't mind. We'll just light a fire. There you go. How's that? And if that's too loud, then we'll do what we can to turn it down. My darlings, how have you been? A lot has been happening. But before we begin, I want to invite you to not miss tomorrow night, August the 9th of 2025 at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's America, New York time. When we invite our friend, the beautiful, wonderful, intelligent, witty attorney Melanie Little will be here gracing us with her presence. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm excited because, listen, we're going to talk to Miss Melanie. We're going to be talking to her about a few other things other than the law, even though she's all about the law and she sets the law on fire and all of that other stuff. So I want to invite you to be here because that's just going to be fantabulous. And I know most of you in here are cupcakes. You're cupcakes. I'm a cupcake. You're a cupcake. We're a cupcake. Wouldn't you like to be a cupcake too? That's right. That's what it is. So I'm excited. So the energy, God, the universe have been really good to me, and I've been very, extremely blessed. So thank you for being here. I just wanted to come in and take a drink in front of you because that's all I do. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a noise. So anyway, my darlings, tonight I thought we would talk because I've had a lot of questions and I'm preparing another water bottle. Hello. I thought we would talk about what goes into a crime investigation because I think there's a lot more to it. And I have a lot of people who ask me, Zelda, how can you predict a crime before it happens? And that answer is yes. And can you predict a crime during? The answer is yes. And of course, we can predict crimes after. It's kind of scary, but I have a story I want to share with you. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are cupcakes who came here from Attorney Melanie's stream, blessings to you. But before I forgot, I've got to say hello to the family. Wie geht's du, was ist los? Ich bin eine Amerikanerin, Kartentante, Lady Zelda von Görlitz. Willkommen. Vielen Dank für deine Freundschaft. Ich liebe dich. Dankeschön. Bitteschön. Thank you. All right. So here we are, my darlings. Now, first of all, I was going to show Microdot's latest video. Oh, I got heartburn. I was going to show his latest video, but I've decided not to because it talks about unaliving. It talks about a lot of things like that. And I got to be real careful with this channel. Extremely. Because I've lost monetization 3 times in a row from ad revenue. That is not your fault. It is not YouTube. But you see, YouTube has guidelines, what they're called community guidelines. And if something is said, the algorithm thinks that you're promoting that type of thing. That's why we almost have to have the YouTube dictionary, right? So with that being said, it has been a moment fighting that because it goes through an algorithm, and if you appeal it and they say no, forget it. There's no way you're going to get that revenue back. So I'm being very careful, very careful. So, and I thank you so much for understanding that. So I also want to tell you in real life what happens, because even my son looked at me and he's like, Mom, when are you going to start talking normal? Well, ever since you get involved with the Karen Reed case and you get involved with Aaron Spencer and you get involved with some of these other cases, you're never normal again. And I don't think I was ever normal to begin with, but especially since then, because now instead of saying the word red rum, I say red rum, or unaliving, or giraffed, graped, grape, some of those other things. And my son was just like, what? So, but the thing of it is, it's not so much that your freedom is being regulated. I get it. It's called respect. And a lot of these advertisers, they got to make sure that they're not promoting, because listen, I have seen some videos, I'm going to say, and other tarot readers. I'm just going to say this. If they want to call themselves that, not going to say anything by name, but they would have little coffins out on the table talking about some well-known people and hoping that they would be unalived. And then they would put this little doll in the coffin and close it really. Now, to me, that, hello. It doesn't matter to me how much I like someone or how much I don't. I have to be unbiased. I cannot sit here and be like, oh yeah, okay. definitely, we're going to do this, and this is going to happen, because if you can actually manipulate the cards, you can manipulate it, and you have to be really careful. And especially with the Karen Reed case, you have to be real careful. So I want to tell you, here we go. Here we go with a story. Hello. Here's Zelda. Get your little popcorn. Got the fire going. Have a little snack. Get a cupcake. Get your little drinky poos. Because, hey, wait a minute. I've got the fireplace going. I'll show you. Oops, hello, that's me. Don't need that. One more time, Zell. There we are. You see that? Got the fireplace going in the background. So that's where you hear this fire. One day, that is real. So, my darlings, got a little story. Many of you may have heard this before, but I'm going to tell it again. Got a little heartburn. So let me take a drink. Let me take a drink. Okay. I was reading on the psychic line, and if Mrs. Marie is in here, she knows exactly the person. We were talking about this person today. I wonder what happened to this person. So, back in the day when I first met Mrs. Marie, I happened to be working for another company. And this person called in. Now, here's the thing. I worked, you might as well say, the graveyard shift. I worked from 10 p.m. until 3 a.m. And I would always joke and laugh and say, well, the bars are closed and now everybody's going to call in on the psychic line. And it seemed like they did. I guess if I wanted to have that much business again, I could always sign in at that time. But wow, some of the phone calls, two that are very memorable, I'm going to tell you. The one, I was talking to this client. He wanted friends so bad. He was kind of like housebound. Pardon me. His mom had passed away, and his dad had recently passed away that he was living with him. And funny enough, I was on the phone with him at 3 a.m. And the phone kept clicking on his end. And I said, is somebody trying to call you? And he's like, yeah, somebody is, but it's the neighbor. And I said, are they texting you? And he said, yeah, they're texting me. They're texting me. And I said, okay. So, the Zelda kicks in. And at that time I was reading, because I'll tell you, if you ever call me and I'm on the psychic line, I will read Cartomancy before I read tarot, because it just goes faster for me. Within 3 cards, I can tell you what's going on. So I'm reading, and it ain't looking good. And I said, what does he want? And he said, he wants me to talk about this particular necklace. And I said, okay. And he said that he wants me to come up there. Up there meaning just up the hill, 3-4 houses down, bottom line. So I'm like, I don't think you should go. And all of a sudden, the dark cards, lots of spades, even the nicer cards that pointed toward this client were like, no. And I said, are you sure? He's like, I think I'm going to go up there. I said, I don't think you should. And when I say in a reading that I see caution tape, it's caution, and that's Shaggy Noodle. When I say I see caution tape, I see caution tape. And when I say I see caution tape, I hope people listen, because it ain't something you should be doing. So I tell him, I think there's some caution tape. I don't think I would go if I were you. Okay, we were still talking. And then finally, another round of texts. And he said, he really wants me to come up there. And I said, let me check. And it was even worse than the first time. So this just kept going on. And I asked him, I said, do you really know this person? He goes, no, I don't. He said, I go outside to get the mail. And he said, I just barely make it to the mailbox. And then I come back in, and if he's out there, I wave. Don't go. Why? Don't go. Why? Well, don't ask me why. The cards don't say don't go because. Don't go. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. If he wants to talk to you about a necklace, he can wait another few hours and have coffee with you tomorrow morning. Okay. Well, this guy kept on, and I said, listen, do me a favor. Are your doors locked? He said, I think so. I said, you need to check. I want you to check the sliding glass door that you told me about. I want you to check the windows. I want you to check your doors. You make sure that these doors are locked, because my darlings, on my end, it was dire straits. And he said, wow, you're scaring me. I said, no, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to give you a heads up. Okay. So we're talking. He's like, I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. The next day, the moment he was calling customer service, and usually when customers would have an issue, they would call customer service. Customer service would call me, and Mrs. Marie called me and said, hey, this guy's needing to talk to you. Can you jump on? I said, yeah, this is just too weird. Hello. He told me, he said, oh my God, I'm so glad that I listened to you. I said, why is that? And he said, my neighbor, that I went outside to get the mail this morning, and there were police cars and caution tape around his home. I said, oh my gosh, what happened? He said, he went up there, spoke to one of the police officers, told what this guy did. This guy that called my client had some mental issues. And of course, we don't have in this country adequate help for people who need that. So I said, yeah, what happened? And he said, he called the mother called the police and said, he's out of hand. We can't handle him. And the police didn't show up because they had been called there several times. So right before he was texting my client, he unalived his parents and put them in the trunk of their car. And he wanted my client to go with him. And he took them to a nearby park and was going to try to bury them. And somebody saw and called the police. And he said, oh my gosh, I have chills. I said, what if you would have, it's one of those things, just like with Karen. What if Karen would have went in the house? Hello, not this one, it's too cute. But what if Karen would have went in the house that night? What if my client would have went up there? That would have been, he probably would have been unalive. he probably would have been freaked out because my client was smaller in stature and he was a little bit disabled. So he probably wouldn't have been able to defend himself. And he said, just remind me to never not believe you again. If you tell me, I will listen. And that was it. That was the thing. There was a and for those of you who are just coming in, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. And YouTube is doing this Tubi thing that I don't know. You have to let me know. If you hit the little like button, put your DNA on your end on the like button. Sometimes it'll do a little boop or a little neon thing, or it'll, do this little animated thing. Let me know. Some of it is working, some of it is not, whatever. I just would like to know, and thank you so much for doing that. But another client, nothing good happens after midnight. Hello, right? In fact, I got a few of those calls often. Another call that I got was a woman calling me freaking out. Now, they recorded some of these calls because, nowadays you have to. When I worked for Psychic Friends Network back in the day with Dionne Warwick, we did not have the technology to record those calls. So this woman calls, and the moment I said, hello, this is Zelda, blah, 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 I didn't even get that out. And she is screaming. And I hear these little kids screaming in the background. And I'm thinking, oh boy, what, you just kind of freeze. And she said, I've been meaning to call you to ask you about my husband, but I don't have to ask you about him anymore. My girls want to know, when you pass away, do you go to heaven? Well, I knew right then that I'd better there's little kids. And no matter what, I do not want them growing up thinking, oh my gosh, there was a psychic talking about my dad frying like a piece of bacon in the hot place. And so I said, honey, of course. You go to paradise, you await judgment. You go to paradise, you await judgment. So, it sparkled. Good. Thank you, Groovy. So here's the wild thing. I'm going to put my little thing up. My darling captain, she has to come at me. I'm so glad because she's got it. Had a little trouble with Venmo. Now I don't. You're not obligated, but if you feel like giving me a little tip, oops, it helps me keep in Dairy Queen cotton candy blizzards. All right. So my darlings, there's this woman. She is screaming. Kids are screaming. And I said, you have to calm down and tell me what's going on. Previously, she wanted to call me because she felt that her husband was having an affair. I'm going to put your chat on the screen because I think some of you are watching on TV, aren't you? There you are. So she said, I was going to call you and ask you if my husband was having an affair. And she said, I don't have to do that anymore. I said, why? What's happened? And she said, well, things had been kind of good. And we were getting along very well. And my husband got a text and he said he had to go out into the garage. And he went out into the garage. And she said, I heard these big bang noises. And I thought, oh God, no. And she said they went out into the garage and there's her husband. And when she called me, he's still laying there. There is her husband lying on the garage floor, unalived. Garage, unalived. And I said, you need to get those kids. And she's like, they need, and they're screaming, oh my gosh, Daddy. I mean, it was just chaos. And I said, what's going on? And is your garage door open? She goes, yes, it is. I said, go close that garage door right now. She went over, she closed the garage door, said, get those kids, get them in the house, and you lock the door. You go into the interior room, you go into a bathroom, you stay on the phone with me, and you call the police, and I will wait until the police get there or until you talk with 911. So one of the other little girls had a phone, they're calling 911, and there she is on the line with Zelda. And so I'm trying to think, and I'm going to tell you, thinking about the pressure that a 911 operator has, and you're trying to stay stoic, and you're trying to stay in a good place, and that you're not freaking out. So she says, she said, I think 911's on their way. And I said, okay. I said, do you know who did this? And she said, yes. Who was it? It was the woman who my husband was having an affair with. He told me earlier that he told her he did not want to lose his family and that he was going to stay. I said, where is she now? She is sitting outside on the street in her car. I said, okay, the police will be there. So you hear the sirens, ooh, all this stuff going. They come in, she goes out, she opens up the house, and you can hear this officer comes in. He goes, who are you talking to? Now, this is kind of funny. He said, who are you talking to? She says, my psychic. And the police officer says, it was so loud, psychic. I wanted to just, after I got off, if this wasn't so horrible, that would be funny. And he said, what are you talking to a psychic for? Well, no, and so she handed the phone to me. And he said, who are you? And I said, I am Zelda Kelly. I work for such and such. And sir, she called me right after this happened. He goes, well, you're going to have to make a statement. And I said, I will be glad to. And, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't know. I didn't see anything, but I heard the aftermath. He said, okay. So he hands the phone back to her. And I said, honey, you have to hang up from me now. She goes, I don't want to. I said, but this is costing you money and the system is going to hang you up. And I don't want to cost you any more money. You got to hang up now. You're always welcome to call me back and let me know what happened. And she said, well, my kids just want to do one thing. And I said, what's that? And she said, they want to thank you. And I said, of course. So they're on the phone with me. You could tell they were in shock. I'm asking their names. How are you? You're going to be okay. Your daddy is going to be fine. I get off the phone and I'm bawling like a baby because of those kids. So, that right there. So you have to be really, really careful about telling people, are they going to be unalived? Are they not going to be unalived? Are they going, that is really something. I mean, I've gotten calls like that. Plus my client, Marianne. And if you're watching from Virginia, Marianne, and she wanted me to tell you, and I didn't tell you the last time, she is recovering financially very well. She has a lawsuit against one of these, like the 1983. Does that sound familiar? She has a lawsuit against one of these little cities in Virginia where this mess happened, where my client was wrongfully arrested for the unaliving of her boyfriend when it was his wife and her boyfriend that did it. So Marianne is doing a lot better. She's learned her lesson. I mean, hello, after how many years? I met her when I was on the Psychic Friends Network. I was in my 20s then, late 20s. And hello, y'all know that now. I mean, my son will laugh and say the Civil War, kind of. So it's been a while, and she was dating that guy the entire time until he was unalived. So there we go. So yeah, there's been a lot of stories. Now, yes, Aunt BB2, that was my friend that I heard that I mean, throughout the years, I kept saying, look, I'm just going to tell you, if you ever want a life, you're going to have, he's going to leave. Really? What decade? You know, he ended up leaving all right, but not the way she thought. Thank you, Marianne. So anyway, my darlings, yeah, you got to be careful in these things, and especially nowadays. So if I've got those questions, and that is, can you tell when something is happening? Yes. Yes. Can you tell? Now, I've had people, oh, sorry, lipstick, hello? Not the right shade, though, hello? Gloss. Gloss. Sometimes you need a little gloss with the blowout, you know. So tomorrow night, when Attorney Melanie Little, I won't have time to go get a blowout. I won't be tan. But I'm ready, because you know, we'll talk us. We'll talk us. We're ready. We'll talk us. So I will be posting the link after the show for tomorrow night. I want to make sure that Ms. Melanie has a lot of, everybody can come in and watch, because I think we're going to see a side of Miss Melanie that we haven't seen before, because she is intrigued with EVPs. I'm going to be reading cards for her. I'm going to be doing, we're going to be talking like, we're going to be talking like, it's not Attorney Melanie Little, and it's not Tarot Seer, whatever the heck I am. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Miss Melanie is a lot of fun. She's got a great sense of humor, and I'll tell you, smart as a whip. And look who's coming here. Oh, hello. 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 So there we go, my darlings. Oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. She was trying to unalive the stream, and I had to stop her. All right, so anyway, so for those of you who have asked, can I tell? Sometimes, I mean, I'm not 100% all the time, but I've been doing this long enough. One of my first big cases was from Gainesville, Florida. I was living in St. Augustine, being the resident card reader, living in a little cottage that looked almost like this. People would come up. I got some funny stories to tell you. St. Augustine was one of them. I got scary stories from St. Augustine and funny ones. So we're in St. Augustine. This is Sammy. This is Sam I Am. Sam, see this person right here? This is Sam. She's my girl. She's the feral one. Oh my heck. So anyway, my darlings. So I was living in St. Augustine and I got a call from an officer in Gainesville, Florida. Yes, I will be reading a little bit from Melanie. If it's anything too personal, I'm not going to say it, but we're going to give her an outline of what's happening. I kind of have an idea, but we're going to give her another outline. So we're going to be reading from Miss Melanie. And then we're going to try to get Auntie Deb, Jimmy, pardon me. This girl has got my nose so tickling. Pardon me. Then we're going to get Jimmy, Auntie Deb. All right, so I'm in Gainesville, Florida. I get a call from the police. They said, we're having some college unalivings. I don't know if you knew this. It was back in the 1980s when bread was a nickel. And they were having problems on campus, University of Florida, Gainesville, and somebody was going in and unaliving some students. So they couldn't figure out who it was because it seemed like it was people knew the person, but nobody knew them. So I had someone who came to me and said, now I can't remember when this was. I think it was late 80s. I was there. So I worked with them for a long time. And you know how I've shown you, I used the pendulum, I used the rods. We went to the university, walked around. I got my feelings. I got grounded. I used the cards. And at that point, I was reading Cartomancy primarily. I wasn't reading tarot at all. It was Cartomancy. So I went to bed one night and I thought, I don't know why this is blocking me. I need to know who is the person doing this. In the middle of the night, I live by myself. I felt this shaking. I'd had no cats. Sorry, Sammy, you weren't even a twinkle in your mommy's eye yet. I felt shaking. I felt all these sort of things. I get up and I heard Wayne is the name. Pardon me, ma'am. Wayne. As in, you're going to have to get down, sister. Wayne. W-A-Y-N-E. I immediately called this detective. And I said, the guy's name is Wayne. He said, we don't have a Wayne. I said, yes, you do. The guy's name is Wayne. Oh, we don't have it. It was that afternoon. They called me and said, oh my God, we found him. I'm like, really, who was it? It was the janitor maintenance man. Hello? Here we go. Let me set up. Where's my background? Let me get going, because you know who did this. You know who did it. Right here, my girl. Let me see. Let me get my background. That's Sammy. She's at it again. I don't know what's going on. Nothing's happening. Hello. Give me a second, my darlings. Let me get this set up. Give me a second. Sammy has struck again. Let me get it set up. Give me a second. Who's the littlest stinker? Who is the littlest stinker? I'm holding Sammy. Guess who it was? His name is Shaggy. Shaggy Noodle. Okay, so back to life, back to reality. So it was Wayne. Wayne was the maintenance man. His middle name was Wayne. Nobody knew it. Nobody called him, and they went back to the, I guess, the human resources and looked through the files and everything else, and it was Wayne. They arrested him that afternoon. And that, sister, you need to, hello. They arrested him that afternoon, and it was in a not so good way. And of course, he unalived quite a few people. That was very sad. So that kind of right there started it for me. And Jacob Wetterling. Jacob Wetterling was the little boy in the Tri-Cities, Minnesota. That's why I don't do kids anymore. And that was horrific. Every time I still see pictures of him. Horrific. So there we go. So I kind of retired from the I retired from the missing persons type thing, but the unaliving and the stuff just like Officer John depends. Have I ever read on Molly Bish? No, I have not. I'll tell you what, life has been so busy, and I counted when I was making funny, but when I counted the thumbnails that I had in Canva that I make all my art, all my thumbnails, all that other good stuff, 438 readings for Karen Reed alone. And however, from when I started this, which was in May of 2024 until June, until now, 430 some readings for Karen, because things were just like every day, craziness. I've never seen a case like Karen's. I've never seen the corruption like Karen. I've seen a little bit. I know some things about places, and it's really been bad. I've got a couple of things here I want to share with you. How dare you, member for 11 months? Has it been 11 months? Have I been here almost a year? I think I have. I got monetized last July, so it's been a year anniversary for me. And she got red sparkles. I'm honored. Thank you so much. And I love red sparkles. I'll take them. Thank you. And then look, here's Groovy Cheryl. Let's make it rain for Shaggy. Thank you, that little stinker Shaggy. I want you to know when I get up in the morning, it's almost an embarrassment. I wonder if the neighbors here, because I only have neighbors up here. The neighbors beside me are gone. But it's like, holy mackerel. Wow. You know, you've heard him. Wow. And you know, when you get up first thing in the morning and you need a little bit of coffee, you don't want to hear wow, but you do. But for those of you who are wondering about Officer John O'Keefe, He will not stop reaching out. I still hear from him. There are still some things. There are some fingers being pointed, and I cannot say, let me fix my light because the light is weird. Pardon me. There we go. Shed some light on some things, getting a little dark. Shaggy is a talker. That's right. He's pointing the finger. John, pardon me, I know it's so gauche to be, but this person here is a tickler. John has been reaching out and pointing the finger. Much better light. Yeah, I started, it was lighter out, and the light, I guess, from inside was coming in. It was like, oh. And then I started thinking, oh my God, I'm looking like I'm in the dark. So, but he keeps pointing the finger. And I can't say who it is, but one attorney has. It's not been Miss Melanie. I think we're going to hear something very soon about something, because I'm going to tell you, I look like an angel now. Thank you. Thank you. I think before it's kind of like I had the hag thing going. Listen, somebody asked me the other day about, yes, I agree, Roxy. Yes, I agree. Somebody asked me the other day about dark witchcraft, dark magic. And they asked me what was worse. Every culture has their person that does that. And they said, was it the Armenians? They've got, oh, listen, hello. Was it the Armenians? Is it the voodoo priests and priestess from New Orleans? And they don't bother you if you don't bother them. That's just the law of the land. Or is it the hags from Scotland? Now I'm going to tell you something. The hags from Scotland, if you get on their bad side, so first of all, you don't even see them. They're tucked away from Edinburgh. You don't see them. They don't advertise. They don't put anything in Craigslist, hi, we'll do, You don't see them. The Armenians, the women are ruthless. Who are the Armenians? Well, they look like Kim Kardashian. And there's a curse on that family, if you don't know. If you know, you know. So anyway, my darlings, I thought that was kind of funny, and I wanted to share that. But Roxy's asking, do I agree with what John is saying and with what that one lawyer is saying? And yes, right from the beginning, yes. And I'm going to go as far as saying that I feel that there may be some people take situations into their own hands. Don't say anything now. Don't put it in there. But I've been seeing two people contemplating taking, and as things heat up, because I think there's a lot that has to be said about Matthew Farwell. Why has he been sitting in a federal prison for over a year? And no briefs have been filed. No, nothing has been filed. Ain't nothing going on by his attorneys. And it just keeps getting pushed out and pushed out. I think the next hearing is Halloween. How fitting. We'll just send a few little ghosts like Christopher Watts. I wonder I wonder about that. I thought about buying Christopher Watts' house. Have you ever seen those videos where you can hear the children giggling and everything going on? I wonder if Sandra is coming into Matthew Farwell. I wonder if he can hear a baby crying at night. I think that'd be just awesome. And I'm going to tell you, I think that person that John keeps pointing a little finger to is probably very tormented right now, from what I gather. Probably because pardon me, that's Sammy. Listen, pardon me. Hello, pardon me. Pardon me. I'll be right back. Thank you. No, it wasn't his baby, but he still unalived it, which he doesn't have any right to do. That's not up to him. But wouldn't it be awesome to know if that was happening? I wonder. I would just like to say, hey, by the way. But, somebody asked me, is it John O'Keefe that is doing the hauntings? No. John doesn't have to. It's like there's another sect of entities. He says, "Oh, I'll do it. And that's really what's happened. So I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and we're going to see a lot more things coming out. This Mercury retrograde has brought a lot to the surface. We're going to be seeing a court case. I believe it's Lollygag. Adam Lolly is going to be the day after Mercury. Who's the day after Mercury on the 12th? Is it Lollygag? Is it ADA Lolly? It's hard to respect these people. I mean, as it goes against my grain. But I just, ugh. And then when I heard Lolly on the stand, huffing and sighing, and somebody said, well, he's a smoker. I don't care if you smoke or not. That's up to you. But these weren't huffy. These weren't smoky huffs. This was every time Rosemary Scapiccio, I love her. She's like, hello. She's like I love the haircut too. It was the sighing and the huffing, just like Judge Auntie Bev that would do every time. And I can't forget those hand signals when attorney Bob Alessi was up to the witness stand trying to look something, and she was looking around the courtroom and looking down at Bob Alessi, and then she looks at her and goes like this. And Hank Breenan objects, and the moment he says objection, she's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to... Bev, there's some problems there. That's right, Sue. Spiritual vigilance is vigilance. Is that a new word? Vigilance. Now I can't even say it. The big guys from the spirit world are going to start coming in, and they're going to start getting jiggy with it. Because I'm going to tell you, when this starts heating up, when Karen gets this court and all of this from Turtle Boy And all of this happens from everything else that's going on, and they get all of this. I'm totally convinced that that judge is hiding things because he knows that it will help Karen in her 1983 cause action. I'm going to say I'm very confident of that. I'm ready. I'm ready. And you know what? I don't believe the fix is in. The fix is in for them. They're fixed because now the truth is coming out. And you can't unsee some of these things. You can't unhear them. That's why when a judge says, oh, well, strike that from the record. You can strike all day long, honey bits, but the jurors and everybody else still heard what was said. You can strike it all day long. That's only for appeals. The rest of it's heard. Yes, I saw where the feds just arrested a sheriff in Massachusetts. They are definitely around, and it's because he was involved in some cannabis investing. Let me say it that way. So yes. So yeah. So there's a lot going on, right? The channel in Boston just got 4,000 pages of Meatball Morrissey's private emails today by Freedom of Information Act. See, so John is pointing fingers. John is pointing fingers. Now, I'm gonna say this. I know I have to get creative. You guys laugh in the chat, and I'm glad you're laughing but I have to get creative when I talk to you, my darlings, because you know I love you, and we gotta laugh a little bit. Otherwise, we'd be sobbing. But we gotta laugh a little bit. Now, I want to let you know. I think I've got it worked out where I can have an event. But Mrs. Marie is going to host it, and it will be a paid event. And the reason it will be paid is not because I'm a grifter, but I could be. I mean, after all, I'm a tarot reader, right? I'm not a grifter. However, it's so the trolls don't come. Because if I had trolls in this event, it would be not so good, because then they could have my information and it would just be the crazy town. And a paid event would keep the trolls out. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Thank you, my darlings. Thank you. Thank you. And I will make that announcement. But I'm also just going to say, listen, if you want to hear talk, if you want to hear tea, if you want to hear who's here and who may look like a reptile or two, download the Signal app, my darlings. There will be space for up to 50 people. And thank you very much. I'm sorry, I don't announce when I'm going to drink, and I should. I know that bothers people. So, if you want to hear the dirt, if you want to hear the tea, if you want to hear all that stuff, hello, I've got it. Because I've read for some and looked into others. Now, oh, and there's Sam. Somebody found a box. So, the other thing, too, pardon me, is that they're having a little trouble. Oh, somebody asked me what this ring is. This is on my left hand. This is on my left hand. And it says, I've had this ring on since 2013. And this ring says Jesus on it. Because when I look down, listen, if any time I'm thinking, which I don't, about getting in trouble, all I have to do is look at my hand and think, oh, nope, I ain't gonna buy that. That's what it is. So, and thank you so much, Standing Stones, for saying that today was so positive, and it was. I just love it. It was fun. It was a fun live, and I'm so glad everybody was there. So, I want you to also know there's a few little things that are going on right now. Somebody has a camera on. They actually saw a crop circle being made. There's been some other things happening. There have been, now I want to tell you about when the time comes, think of an apple. I'm going to announce it. And then we're going to have a way that you can send in your payment. And when you send in your payment, you get a special link. And that will be the link to join the Signal app. And be prepared, because you're going to hear Zelda like never before. And we're going to hear about a lot of crap. Okay. So, my darlings, yes, Rosebud, yes, my darling Rosebud sent me these earrings from my Amazon wish list. And my gosh, Sam asked me today if she could actually jump through them. I love hoop. I feel like I'm back in 1978 because that's all I ever wore was hoop earrings in the 70s. So thank you so much, because you gave me that blast from the past. There are like several sizes, gold, silver. These are the largest ones. And they're the perfect size, because if they were any larger and they hit my shoulder, that takes me that makes me feel like my soul is leaving my body. And then I think, what wizardry is this? I don't like it, but I love hoops. I love it. So anyway, my darlings, I want to talk to you a second about a couple of paranormal things, as in Matt Rife and Elton Caste, especially Matt Rife, buying the Annabelle, the Warren Museum, and they took custody. They're making it sound custody. But don't worry, Patty, it's going to be a little bit until I can get it going, because the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the podcast with our friend, and he will be your friend too, Lord Gregor from the house or the Castle Vale Keep in Deutschland, in Germany. I will be doing that podcast first, and then we're going to work on the paid event. Okay, hold on. There's a red super sticker from Samantha. Hello, my darling. Welcome, and thank you so much for being so generous. Thank you for thinking of me. Okay, but I want to talk to you about this doll, Annabelle. I also want to talk to you about the Conjuring House. I was not on the popular list from, thank you very much, my darlings, and you know the reason I'm going on. I've had Signal longer than long. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't use any of those things. The Conjuring House. I think that there's something there. But I don't believe that it's the woman that they say that it is. Because I did a deep dive, and that story, if you want to go into Dark Tales with Zelda, I was not on the popular list. A lot of paranormal people got angry with me because I found out that the story that they were telling behind the Conjuring House wasn't really true. So, but there's a new Conjuring movie coming out Let's grift. There's been problems with the there's been problems with the Conjuring house. That house has problems, but it was not from what they said that it was. Now, I I'm a nobody in the paranormal field because I'm too old for them. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I'm not into that popular circuit. I like to work on my own because I don't get into that thing. I know how I like to investigate. I'll take people with me. There's somebody here in the chat that I want to take with me, a couple, 2 or 3 people, but especially happens to be a male. You know, if you know, you know who you are, my darling, you know. But and you guys are just top shelf. You know what, Miss Jessica NB, I do feel, and I'm going to tell you, I almost got on tonight and said, happy fall, y'all, like they do here in the South, because the moment August hits, woo, I'm ready. I'm ready for fall. Fall is my favorite season of the year. But the reason things heighten is because everybody else is heightening. That doesn't mean that anybody is more or less spooked at any other time of the year. It's just, that type of thing. Oh yeah, Sam and Colby. Before I begin on this other thing, Ellen, ladies, any good places in Tennessee? Well, the South Pittsburgh Hospital was good. I'll give you my signal with a special link when we announce it. So I'm not going to do that now because I'm going to tell you what, I don't have time. I don't have time to be on there because I use it for my other work. So, all right. And I don't know why I'm directing. So, Bat Signal, that's right. And if anybody wants to see a really great, fun movie with Vincent Price, do the colorized version because it's really good. And Agnes Moorehead, Agnes Moorehead, The Bat. You got to watch The Bat. I watch it every year. And I'm going to tell you, I am a Hammer movie aficionado. I love Hammer movies. And especially, hold on. I'm going to give you a little hint of which one is my favorite from the Hammer movies. Are you ready? Now, don't tell the vampires that I'm going to be on their podcast. All right. So back to the story, because I watch what you guys are saying and I get really distracted because I love to talk and I love to sit here and just talk to you about all these things that are going on. The Conjuring, the Warrens, all of the other stuff. The grandson of the Warrens, Lorraine and Ed Warren, is beside himself and said, this cannot be. I don't know if you watched that little video, and I supplied this channel with this particular picture for them. If you look, there's Matt Rife and Elton standing in front of the doll, Annabelle, and there's something in the cabinet on the side of Annabelle. Hello. No. That doll needs to be dealt with. And at this point, nobody really knows how to deal with her. Because In order for a doll to have that happen, and you know, I told you the story about me and the doll that affected me since I was 3 or 4 years old in a little town in Ohio. We don't know where the intention came from that was placed in that doll. It had to come from something. You're just not a demon and wake up someday and say, oh, I think I'll jump into a doll. It doesn't happen. There has to be an intention to be put into a doll like that. Like the sock monkey that I have here that attacked my cat from my ex Shrek. Oh, I'd like to send that back to him airmail. I would pay the $8.95 for that to happen. So I'm going to tell you, I don't like that. I think that it's dangerous. And I can tell you, I can't tell any of you what to do, but I will tell you this. If you go to visit, I would be very cautious. They are going to be, I think they're renovating the house. They're going to rent it out as an Airbnb. Yikes. I mean, I have nightmares of waking up in the middle of the night and seeing some of that doll. Now listen, there are some things that scare me, and I'm fearless. That's one of them. Good question. Terry is asking, Zelda, could they do an exorcism on the doll? Possibly, but the problem is you don't know. I mean, I know demonologists. And it's like something you don't want to even tackle because you don't know. Ed Warren, I don't know if any of you knew this or not, but Ed Warren was a demonologist. And when they got that doll, they buckled it into the back seat and they had nothing but trouble on the way home with that doll in that car. Brakes going out, running off the road. I mean, heavens to Betsy. I mean, they were brave to even have it. I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it. Mm-mm. I won't go up there. I won't go see the Robert doll. I won't go. I want to go to Vegas to see Zach. Okay? And I missed that during the thing in 2020 that happened because I was supposed to fly out in January of 2021 to meet Zach with Ghost Adventures and his crew and a couple of other people, and we got grounded. And nothing has come of that since. And you know, even Zach had a moment with that doll. And doll, I almost said dog, doll. And that, I mean, if anybody should have bought that house, you know why I think Zach should have bought that house? I'm going to tell you. He bought that demon house in Indiana. Do you remember that one? You listen, that thing that chased him out of the basement, I had a moment with that. Anytime I go into and when I go with Microdots, Richie, and we do this kind of thing, I take an iron spike with me. Not because I'm going to be like, It's because iron. You can fight off a demon with iron. Forget the crystals and all this other stuff. You could throw them out of boo. But a demon and a bad witch, you have a fighting chance with iron. There's a place up in Michigan. So I would think that Zach would have a fighting chance with that because he would do the right thing. But when he bought the demon house in Indiana, he tore it down, which, bravo to him. He did the right thing. So nobody else could go in there. See, that kind of bothers me. because houses like Amityville, and I think they need to be researched. That's why I wanted to buy the Amityville horror house, because I wanted to put cameras in there 24/7. Cameras. Maybe let some experts come in there, demonologists, metaphysical science experts come in there. That ground, there's some things that have migrated into that area from Salem, Mass. So that was kind of my idea, and those people are just so uncooperative, and it's not and it was based on what I saw inside the Amityville horror house. So I know the neighbors do swear nothing happened. They still do. And it's because they don't want to be involved. But as far as just like the Conjuring house and all this other, everybody's like, oh, and I think I mentioned it the other night, the Velisca Axe Red Rum house. Now they're selling in their little shop. What do you call that? Where you buy souvenir shop? They're selling souvenirs of axes with the people, the real people's pictures who have been unalived on those axes. Now, how just bloody low grifting can you possibly get? And anybody from Velisca, if you're watching, please call me, because there is a certain respect that goes along with this, and especially for the victims. They never found out who did that down there. But I have a certain idea about this, and this is why I'm not popular in those circles in the paranormal community. It is something that needs to be researched. And if you find something, get rid of it. Don't keep, because every person that goes in, you could stir something up, you could bring something home, you could, it keeps it going. Shut the portals, shut it off, shut it down, and that is what we are supposed to be doing. How many times do I hear, oh, do you need prayer? I'll help you get back to wherever. Sorry, it's God that does that. And sorry. And then that group leaves and another one comes in and stirs the pot all over again. That's why I don't go out to a lot of these. Hello. That's why I don't go out to a lot of these tourists, but I would love to go to the Myrtles. Oh, I would love to go to the Myrtles. Yes, Darlene, I love that. Working in a psychiatric hospital years ago had enough attachments. Listen, here we go. Zelda had another client. She was in a psychiatric hospital in New York, and they would let her go to the lobby and call me. And I just think that's kind of funny in a way, but it's not in a way. But she was a doctor, a very prominent doctor. And she was having an operation and something went wrong and she just kind of lost it. The Myrtles is a place, oh gosh, I can't even think of it. Is it Louisiana now that it's there? Oh, sorry, Kings Park Hospital. Sorry. I want to work. Oh, I worked in Kings Park. Okay. That there were some back during the Civil War, and you know what happened with certain people that they had working for them. We'll call them that, servants. How about that? There was a servant there that unalived some children. There's a lot that goes on there. But the one thing, Louisiana, there you go. It's in Louisiana. They have mirrors facing each other. You don't want to have a mirror facing each other. Hello. because it opens a portal. I don't know if you've ever looked into a mirror that is across from one another. It's an indefinite reflection. Indefinitely. And that's the portal that it kind of sort of opens. It's wild. I want to go there, but I don't know if I'll ever make it. Louisiana was wild enough for me. Zombie Island. Sometimes you got to be careful. I would not go out at night in New Orleans. Sorry. I just don't. I go out in the daytime. I haunt New Orleans in the daytime. I don't go. St. Augustine, Florida, hello. Haunted. Haunted. Like crazy. Yes, and I met Anne Rice at Café du Mall, and she was interviewing the vampire that she wanted to write about in Lestat and Nolans. And I will go back in a heartbeat just to have a beignet. I'm telling you. But there was some scary stuff there, and they have the vampires in Nolans. And there's a lot of wannabes, and I'm going to tell you what. The wannabes in New Orleans are probably a lot more dangerous than the real ones, because they feel like there's something there and they've got to prove it, and they want that so bad. And yeah, I wouldn't mind having a condo in Salem. Listen, I need to roll the clock back about another 20 years, so I've got more time to be just doing all these things that I want to do. The Myrtles Plantation is in St. Francisville, right past Baton Rouge. That's right. How y'all are? That's exactly right, my darlings. Exactly right. Eeks. Got a little something here. Let's read. Florida fan, bless you, my darling. This is the anniversary of my late husband's passing. Oh, 4 years ago today. I miss him so. My darling, thank you so much for being here with us during this time. Thank you. And thank you for your generosity. I am so sorry for your loss, but I'm so happy that you are our gain, because we just love you and having you here. So thank you so much for being here. So I'll tell you what, Boston Bea was in Salem last weekend and sent me pictures. Oh my gosh, she looks so beautiful and fantastic. She sent me pictures. It looked, oh. St. Augustine, I got to tell you a funny story about St. Augustine, because, you know, like New Orleans, they bury people above ground. The old city, what they call the old city, would have these crypts above ground. And of course you can't, I mean, you can look in, but you can't get in. Well, I was living in my little cottage, minding my own business, and the rains came, and they didn't leave for days. And rain was starting to come up toward my little cottage, toward the front door. And the police came and said, I think we need to evacuate this area. And I said, I'm not going. I'm not going. I've got too much. I'll be all right. I'm not going. It's not going to last that long. And he's like, okay. And he knew me, and he said, why don't you come downtown with us? Okay. Okay. Well, you go downtown, and now you start seeing these boxes that are floating in the middle of St. Augustine. And I'm standing, there's a bunch of us standing there. And I'm like, finally I looked at the police officer and I said, these people have just got to get it together. And everybody started laughing, and it wasn't meant for them, it was meant for the people of the city because they could have been doing a lot better. So that was kind of a funny joke. But anyway, it was, that was surreal. Seeing that, seeing some little things floating from the 1600s. You wonder who they are. It was where they were buried because they bury people above ground in St. Augustine, unless you're inland. But this was in the old city. So, yeah, okay, so I see a question back here. Hold on. Gina. Hi, Gina. Zelda, what is the association with mental illness, psychiatric hospital, and the paranormal? It's closer than what you think. That was one of my degrees of study toward the master's. Didn't take me 17 years to get it, if you know, you know. But of parapsychology and the mind. Now, it is frightening because there are some similarities. Because in some regard, schizophrenia have some of the same symptoms as demonic possession. And it takes someone a lot more credentialed than me to be able to say, no, that's not it. Yes, that is. But the reason that I got into it because I was intrigued by the fact that people would unalive people, not about that, but people would, and then they would say, I heard a voice and they told me to do this. And if I did this, I would be okay. And that I would be joining them somewhere else. And I would be, and then in the end, they would commit this act and be extremely disappointed because they didn't go where they were promised that they were supposed to go. And that part of things intrigued me. Makes you stop and think, how vulnerable do we allow our minds to get? This is why we really are not supposed to be overindulgent with drinking, with, I'm going to say, prescriptions. Don't say it here, please. And, you know, anything that can alter your sense of right and wrong, the sense of being able to make a decision. And I have to be extremely, I want to be extremely careful because I got to tell you something. I've got my body, I don't take any medication. Praise the Lord, I just knocked on wood. I don't take any medication for my age. That's really something. I don't even take an aspirin unless I need it. I know what my body's doing. I know what my body tells me. And if I do anything more than that, if I try to, I can't drink. I want you to know, I would love to drink. I'd love to have an old fashioned or a Manhattan or a Cosmopolitan. I can't physically drink. My body will not allow me to. I can't swallow it. And it's because I'm not supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to stay as clear as I possibly can until the day that I can't stay clear any longer. And it's because there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of things floating in the air. If you have special glasses right now that you could see into the cosmic unknown, you would either be thrilled or frightened at what you can see. Yes, I am a Pisces. I'm a March Pisces, March 15th. So there's another thing that I want you to know. You can always tell when someone has the potential of calling, I'm going to say it this way, a Captain Crunch unaliver. You know what that means? A Captain Crunch unaliver. You know what Captain Crunch is? Captain Crunch is a cereal. So a Captain Crunch unaliver. I want you to look at this. If any, and no, I know everybody in here is going to be putting a mirror up. If you see anyone whose ears are below where their eyes are, I don't know why this is in one of my group studies, a huge potential of being a Captain Crunch unaliver. And nobody really understands or know why. There are things like that, like hello. But anyway, I don't know how we got off. I was talking about the Conjuring House, but I'm just going to say, keep a watch in that area. Keep a watch in Connecticut. I wish them all the best. And I'm just hoping that nothing is going to happen there. I just hope. Now, some other things that are happening, I'm just going to say, and I want you all to prepare for it. There are, Fruit Loops are big unalivers. That's correct. Where does Captain Crunch come in? Leah. No, Groovy. No. Take a look at Brian Kohlberger's ears. Here's the test. You put, like you see where my glasses are, you put a pen right here by your cheek and you twirl it around this way. If your ears are below that pen, I don't know. Pardon me. Okay. Yes. So, I think sometimes hypnosis is overrated. There's standing stones. Yes, hello. Everybody's getting their mirrors and their pens. All right. So, do I have a picture of one? Look at Brian Kohlberger. Although there's some things in that case that I think that they have missed. There's some problems. So BK's ears. That's right. Cocoa Crisps are good. I'm a big fan of Captain Crunch. That's why I don't eat it, because I have to have crunch berries. I believe that there were some other people involved. If you look at the time frame, look at him. He might be very strong, but he's kind of a wuss, pardon me. But I believe there were some other influences there, not paranormal. I think there were some other people that were involved in some things. I don't think that he was alone. I think he was the fall guy. Oh, look, we had 227 people watching. I think that he took one for the team. I think these weren't friends. They weren't friends. Yeah, the only cereal we had when we were growing up was oatmeal, malto meal. Malto meal, oatmeal, and there was another one. I would just skip cereal days and just say, Mom, I'll have toast. So, and grape nuts, good grief, you'd have to have a trip to the dentist if you had grape nuts. What was that? My grandpa would eat grape nuts like there was no tomorrow. Parapsychology. I have my doctorate in metaphysics and parapsychology. You don't hear the metaphysical stuff any longer. You don't hear anything about kinesiology or telepathy or any of those things. Those are kind of like old-fashioned things. The documents in Patty, because there was a much bigger picture, in my opinion. I'll tell you what, there's a woman who on here, I think she has true crime design. No, she has done a whole series on BK, and you will be fascinated. She came out that when I started looking into that sort of thing, and wow. Grits, I'm a grits girl. Give me grits any day. But I don't like them soupy. They got to be a little on the stiffer side. Butter, no sugar. I'll eat grits every day with a scrambled egg. Not True Crime Tarot. She is a true crime podcaster. She is amazing. And she's done her homework. And I see her on the Talkity Tick too. Talkity Tick too? Talkity Tick also as well. But the true crime, she's not a tarot reader. She's a podcaster. I want to thank, we've got some people who have sent some Venmos. Bless you, my children. And you're not children of the corn. No children of the corn are allowed here. Jody, thank you, sends a very generous Venmo. Thank you very much for your love, and I'm sending it right back to you. Ellen, thank you. Thank you so much, my darlings. Thank you. You're wonderful. You're wonderful. Thank you. So, grits must be homemade. Yes, listen. I'm all for it. Okay, this is Liz coming in hot. Well, wait a minute. Old TV was my babysitter, right? Kravitz window, Mrs. Kravitz. Look at that face on there. I know Mrs. Kravitz. Liz, this is my weekly, oh no, just doing something manifesting with bay leaves tonight contribution. Bless your heart. Love you all. Well, we love you all back, Liz. And thank you. You're so generous. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited about tomorrow night too. But I wanted to just touch base with you and just have some chat. I just want to have some chat. In fact, now I've got it. Let me see if I can find that podcaster, because I want you to get the information that I got. And believe me, it will blow your minds. Not KTV, not Court TV, not any of those. And they released more pictures today. I don't know why they do that. It is so hurtful. It is so hurtful to the families. Just stop. You did what you wanted. Just stop. Just stop. But they won't. They're going to just drag this down into the abyss. It might be true crime today. It might be. I'll have to look. I'll let you all know. I'll let you all know, because do I believe that there's been something sort of kind of, I mean, there was some involvement, but I do not believe that he acted on his own. And the only reason that I say that, and of course, now that I want to know this, the only reason that I say this, is because of the timelines. I can't find her now, but she's smart as a she's so smart. But oh yeah, Microdot. I saw a private screening of that, and I'm so honored to support him. That was very good. I was going to show it on here tonight, but oh, I cannot take any more chances, my darlings, with getting any more. I'm afraid they'll take down my channel if I get any more dings. So I'll find out and let you know who the podcaster is. She's very good. Might be Truth and Transparency. Let me see. Now I have to see. Now I have to see. Let me find it. Because she's very good. Truth and Transparency. It could be. It could be. Because when you, I think it is. I think it is. But when you, I think it is. I think it's Truth and Transparency. Thank you for giving that to me, because I'll tell you, there's a lot in there. And when I first saw this happening, I thought, this can't be right. This doesn't make any sense. Look at the timelines and how quickly he would have had to act between these four people. It's almost, it's there's something wrong. So anyway, my darlings, I have some things to do. I've got a reading that I've got to get out. I've got a lot of things that I want to do, and I'm doing a special introduction tomorrow night, and I'm working on that for Melanie. And I hope she loves it. I'm sure she will. I know you will too. And can you believe it? I just can't believe it. I'm just so happy she's going to be coming on. So watch for that link. I'm getting ready to put it out as soon as we say goodbye here. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your generosity tonight, for being here, for being so sweet. Wait, did we get you, Leah? Your super sticker. Thank you so much for your generosity. It means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, my darlings, well, thank you. So, you're the talented one, Standing Stones. I love my painting, and it's right over here where I can look at it until it hangs up in the official wall. So, thank you so much. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. I just want you to know. So thank you for coming in tonight on just such a fast, quick notice. Well, if she is whatever, it's on. I don't even know if it's her. So before I get into I'm going to look at that, because there is this. There are things that I don't agree with. There needs to be more. Hold on. Who's TNT? I just saw TNT is very, very thorough going over documents. Yeah. There's one of them. There's one of them. So do me a favor. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. I want to get to 11,000 people. I'm a little ways away, but do me a favor. Pop on over to True Oracle, because we are almost at 4,000 people. And I want you to know 4,000 people, we're going to have a big celebration, a big giveaway. Hello. So make sure you like and subscribe over there. Look for the readings that are coming out. Thanks for spending today with me. I'm going to see you tomorrow and Sunday and Monday. And then we're heading into the week. These are the last, hold on, let me see. Today is the 8th. The 11th is Monday. We will have a celebration because Mercury retrograde will be direct. And then we can, free again. Independent me, free again. Right? That's the way it is. So my darlings, thanks a lot. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Love seeing you tonight. I just love the fact that we can just chat. Sometimes you just need to chat, right? You just need to chat. I'll keep you posted as far as what Officer John is saying. I'll keep you posted on all of those things. And much love to you. Oh, before you go. Supposedly, allegedly, there is a very dangerous heat wave that is about to hit Europe and the United States. They're saying that by Tuesday, record highs in the United States could be 120 degrees and upward. And in Europe, it's going to be very high to the point where they've never had anything like this before. So pray that these forecasters have it wrong. Pray, because what will happen are power outages, because the grid can't keep up, and unalivings. And anytime you have that type of a degree of weather, listen, I'm just going to say this. Keep indoors. Keep indoors. Keep cool. Don't allow your electricity to go crazy and keeping it icy. You can withstand it. Because I'm going to tell you, people get irritated, ugly, mad during heat waves. And any people that are in the medical field will tell you it's not good. People get outraged. So hang in there. Keep do the best you can. And remember when I told you to be careful and watch Wyoming? Wyoming had hail the size of softballs. You should have seen it. Cattle running, people running. Wyoming's not done. Watch the animals. Watch the animals, my darlings. Anyway, much love to you. I had shredded chicken sandwiches tonight and big potato wedges for dinner. And listen, I am as full as what they say, I'm as full as a tick. So I'm going to relax a little bit. I watched, let's see, what was that? And just like that, I'm looking forward to the season finale of The Gilded Age, and I'm looking forward to watching the Outlander series. We don't have to say it in here, I know this. Thank you, my darlings. You all are so wonderful. I love you. It's hard for me to say goodbye, but I got to do it. So I will see you soon. I'm going to put on a little thing here to get you going. Say goodbye to you. And I'm going to put the fire out, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. Y'all be well, okay? Hang in there. Much love to you. And I'll see you very soon.